gosh. Welcome to the RBN Roundtable. Today is Thursday, May 19th, 2022. It is good to see you. My name is James Fauntleroy, a.k.a. JB Font, and I have Nick, a.k.a. Socialist MMA, my brother from another mother, live with me today to talk to all of you about why the earth is fucked and why we have the power to change it. I just want to give a shout out to everybody that's here, that's joining us in the chat. Also, just let you guys know that, if you guys are new to the channel, please make sure to hit that subscribe button and the notification bell, because you know that the YouTube algorithm does not like us. Y'all know it. Also, if you guys can subscribe to our Patreon, we are very grateful for that as well. And it's so good to see all of you here in the chat today. Nick, my brother, you're looking fly as always. How you doing today?
My man James is on fire, still with a ton of energy. If you guys haven't seen it, if you guys have not subscribed to my brother JB Font YouTube channel, what are you doing? What are we doing? James just had Jimmy Dore on the show. It was a very, very entertaining and informing interview. So we got a lot of great sister channels, brother channels. What should we call them?
Sibling channels.
Sibling channels. I guess I should stay gender neutral, right?
Yeah.
JB Font doing great work. So if you guys haven't subscribed to JB Font, you guys should do it. You guys should definitely do it. So it was a great show, and you still got a lot of energy, and this should be a fun one. I've been always talking about a lot of super depressing shit on my show, and then I'm like, when I go to the roundtable, I'm like, oh well, at least on the roundtable I can have some fun. And oddly enough, there are always some funny stories to talk about on Thursday.
Oh yeah.
And we got you guys see the title. You guys see the title of this video. George Bush hilarious flub.
This is gonna be funny.
We gonna talk about that. And then we already knew this was gonna happen, but they had the official Senate vote today, and every single Democratic senator voted for Ukraine to fund the Ukraine proxy war. And we got like that. I'm gonna explain this later because I was just doing a quick rundown, but we need to explain it as they're funding the Ukraine proxy war. Like, it's not Ukraine aid. This is dark money. They already said they have no idea how they're gonna track who gets this money. This is funneling money to the weapon defense contractors and meant to hurt Ukrainian people. So I don't even like saying it's Ukraine aid. This is $40 billion that's being sent to fund the U.S.-Russia proxy war. So that's what I have. JB has some good stories as well. Brother.
Yeah, dude. Look, I'm in a mood to laugh at warmongers today. It's a shame it's a shame I'm not high right now, because that would be even better. But because look,
let's just say I always do a good pre-show. Let's just say that.
Yo, bro, can we talk about George W. Bush?
Man,
can we talk about him?
People forgot, JB. People because of Trump, people forgot. People forgot how much of an airhead he is. like people, JB, you old enough. You around my same age. I remember growing up, I was in middle school and high school during the George Bush administration. I remember on the Daily Show, they used to make fun of this motherfucker every night because he was George Bush Jr. was considered the first real clown president. Whether you really believe that or not, it's up to you. But he was people pretend that Trump was the first clown. No. Everyone used to make fun of George Bush back in the day. He was a dumbass. Remember?
That's what he was. And look, how many of us were rooting for the pretzel? So because this dude literally helped to kill 2 million Iraqi people. Yo, the least we can do is clown on his ass. And guess what? This is the dude.
George Bush signed the Hague Invasion Act, James.
Oh my God.
Do you guys know what the Hague Invasion Act is? The Hague Invasion Act, which was signed under George Bush Jr., made it so if the International Criminal Court tried anyone in the United States for war crimes, the United States the president will have legal authorization to launch an invasion in the criminal court, so they can't hold war criminals accountable. That is what George Bush Jr. did. But sorry, JB, I apologize for cutting you off.
No, you're good. That's actually some pertinent information that showed the clownery, the the ass hattery of it all. Because I mean, ultimately, like, number one, and people will talk about how he's, how he's very charming and. Oh my God, isn't it great that Michelle Obama gave him a piece of candy and how they're best friends? Like, look, that was the whitewashing of a war criminal, and you know it. And look, here's the crazy part. This man launched 2 wars against brown people, and you literally have the first black FLOTUS that end up whitewashing his image by hugging him on camera, hugging him on
coincidence,
and talking about how we're really friends. Shame on you, Michelle Obama. Shame on you, because you literally whitewashed and sanitized the image of a war criminal. But given that your husband is a war criminal, I guess I shouldn't be surprised.
Do you guys think that was like some sort of accidental friendship? I don't give the ruling class any benefit of the doubt, guys.
No.
So the Democratic Party was shifting, and they were like, all right, we're the new Republican Party now with a smile on their face. That switch was like solidified in the 90s. So when you had George Bush who left office, they knew they was going to continue the empire that George Bush continued to build up. That he took over from Clinton. So it was the Obama's job, and in particular, Michelle Obama, who, whether you guys believe that or not, especially around the time Barack Obama left office, she was considered one of the most popular people in politics.
Yes.
I don't know, do you guys remember that? She was more popular than Barack Obama in the polls.
Mm-hmm.
And so my theory is, I tell you guys, I always come up with theories because I give them no benefit of doubt. I read history. When you read history, you learn human history is the history of conspiracies.
Mm-hmm.
And then we learn about it later. They're like, damn, if only people knew about that back then, right?
Mm-hmm.
I swear to God, they sent Michelle Obama to rehabilitate and make him look. Do you guys really think they developed a legitimate friendship where they just started texting each other out of nowhere? How did this friendship start? Right? So they sent someone who they saw was popular. The former First Lady, her job was to rehabilitate George Bush Jr. Why? Because they knew Barack Obama and now Joe Biden is continuing the same policies as George Bush.
Mm-hmm.
So they don't want to make that the red line. And they played the long game. They're like, whether it take a few years, have them dance on Ellen a few times. He was killing it. Like, bro, just slowly nip away at the population, make them forget who he is. Have him do some painting.
Yeah.
It worked, bro. I swear.
It worked.
Rating actually went up. Now we gotta get to the video, guys. You know, we had to talk shit. You know, we had to preface this before you show you guys this video. I know, unlike me, I know a lot of you guys are not as online as I am. So you guys may have just seen this for the very first time. The greatest thing that ever happened in politics.
Yes.
I swear to God, I am not exaggerating.
Hey, once this video is done, I want y'all to put y'all hands together, even if y'all alone in your own house. I want y'all to clap for this because this was rich. This was just rich.
I am not fucking joking.
Oh,
I've been paying attention to politics for the longest time. This is probably the best headline, the best story I have ever seen. And as soon as I read, obviously you read the Twitter tweet before you watch the video. As soon as I read it, I was like, "There's no way, no, no, no." He said, "What? No." And then I was like, "Dude, this video has to be bullshit." So George W. Bush had, how you pronounce it? Fraudulent slip?
Freudian slip. Yeah.
The biggest slip. Fraudulent slip. That's one of the words I only read. It's not in my vocabulary. I was
It's
just
all
reading.
good.
So the worst one of all time. I'm gonna play the video. We hyped it up enough, and we let it speak for itself. So let's watch the video. We definitely gonna play it more than once, by the way.
Oh yeah, we got a lot to laugh
video.
about.
I watched this video so many times, JP. Literally in awe. Couldn't believe this happened.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's check it out.
Roll that beautiful beam footage.
In contrast, Russian elections are rigged. Political opponents are imprisoned or otherwise eliminated from participating in the electoral process. The result is an absence of checks and balances in Russia and the decision of one man to launch a wholly unjustified and brutal invasion of Ukraine. Iraq. Anyway. Of Iraq. Of Ukraine. Invasion of Iraq. 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 Invasion of Iraq.
So we got
him.
Dude, we are blessed. We are blessed. We got the clip. We got the clip of Rand Paul saying that the United States is the biggest purveyor of misinformation. We got that, what, a week ago, 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
And now we got a clip of George W. Bush.
Blessings.
Admitting that he launched an unjustified, brutal invasion of Iraq. Dude, this guy has nightmares. He is haunted by the Iraqi children. 100. Bro, yeah. JB, go ahead, JB.
Yo, in his nightmares, the Iraqi children are tugging at his suit jacket and saying, "Why did you kill me?" And he's like, waking up in cold sweats. I'm glad that may be happening. I'm glad. You don't sleep at night? Good, because guess what? That's what you did. And guess what? That Freudian slip, that was pure gold. Because guess what?
Greatest thing ever. Like, what's better than that? You guys want to see it again? Let's do it. Let's see. Let's watch it again. Watch his body language. Like, I broke it down so many ways, like almost by the second. It was like the greatest night in Twitter. It was amazing.
Yeah.
This is it. Like, this is the moment that we've been waiting for.
Yeah.
And this reminded me of the old school George Bush days when he used to say stupid shit all the time. Yep. It was the original Donald Trump. And now we see why. Now let's play the whole video. This is too good.
In contrast, Russian elections are rigged. Political opponents are imprisoned or otherwise eliminated from participating in the electoral process. The result is an absence of checks and balances in Russia and the decision of one man to launch a wholly unjustified and brutal invasion of Ukraine. Iraq. Anyway.
He says, he says, I'm 75. He said he's 75. Like, oh, I'm old. Sorry. As you know what happens when you get old, you accidentally confess to your war crimes. You know, shit happens.
Yeah, shit happens. Here I am. I'm showing a Time magazine cover where the United States literally interfered in a Russian election.
Whew.
So please, first of all right. As far as election interferences, the United States invented that shit. The United States invented it. And so you mean to tell me, not just election interference, but actual coups into other governments so that they can take out a democratically elected ruler. I'm sorry, not ruler. I want to say, head of state, and then put in and install a puppet dictator just like they did with Mohammed Mossadegh and installed the Shah and in Iran. And next thing you know, just so that they can get the oil. So the United States has actually been doing worse than that. They've literally been taking out and replacing actual democratically elected representatives. So George W. Bush, number one, that was his first flaw. Secondly, he did the Freudian slip.
As you guys see the definition, here it is. Here it is once again. And I'm gonna get to the substance of what he said. We're having fun, but there's a lot of substance to what he actually said too. Mm-hmm. An unintentional error regarded as revealing subconscious feelings. So why didn't George Bush say the brutal, unjustified invasion of fucking Bolivia, right? Or fucking the unjustified, brutal invasion of France? Like, because that's not on his mind. It's not real. This shit he knows. He will forever be remembered as one of the most evil people of all time. Like, with the body counts up as high as any because as far as I'm concerned, his body count stays even after he leaves office. Like, I'm talking about every death after 2008 that's in response to the war on terror, war in Afghanistan, war in Iraq. That's on Bush too. He started that fucking vehicle. Some people disagree with me. Think about the body that George Bush is responsible for when you look at the sanctions. Last number I read, 2019, the number was like 2.3 million dead Iraqis. You can be evil as fuck, but that has to sit on your conscience at some level, unless you're really next level. And there are some people, I don't think Dick Cheney gives a fuck. Dick Cheney probably just vibing. His conscience, he don't feel none of it.
What?
Maybe George Bush, I don't know. Maybe I'm giving him too much credit. Maybe I should chill. Maybe I should pump my brakes. Maybe he don't give a fuck. Maybe he just knows. Maybe he just knows. I don't know.
Let me ask you this. And please, people in the chat, correct me on this, but didn't Guantanamo Bay was established under George W. Bush? So if that being the case, then it wasn't just a war in Iraq, and the Afghan war, which was one of the longest wars in United States history, but also he established oh my God, I can't believe I'm forgetting words. I'm tired, y'all. But he established Guantanamo Bay. Nick? Everybody's internet going out for some reason today. But anyways, he'll be back. But he established Guantanamo Bay, which was actually holding people, without charge, who were that could have been innocent for what? Counterterrorism? And then they end up having to release them? So, no. Like, you can't sit here and tell me that, people launder his image. And then he'll make the rounds and going on, the Today Show and Good Morning America and The View and The Talk and all these other different neoliberal shows, corporate shows. And by the way, look, hang on, before you take that picture down, look, with Joe Biden and George W. Bush, the two peas in a pod. You want to know why? Because who helped write the Patriot Act? It was Joe Biden. Who signed it into law? George W. Bush. This is why we ain't got no actual privacy in this country.
There was no bigger ally in the Senate for George Bush than Joe Biden. You guys realize that, right?
Yeah.
Like, in terms of getting the bipartisan votes he needed, Joe Biden whipped the Democratic Party, meaning whipped the votes as head of the Senate Judiciary Committee. He used to hold these sham hearings to drum up support for the war.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then he lied about this relentlessly, and the Bernie campaign allowed him to get away with it because he lied about his record over this over and over again on the debate stage. Lied about it.
Yep.
And this is what George Bush is responsible for. Now,
Abu Ghraib, yeah.
And we laughed at him. You debunked it in a substantive way. Now let me take a swing at it as well, because you heard the propaganda that came Bush. Here, let me play it one more time. Now I'll get to my substance breakdown. It's a very short video, and I want you guys to listen to what Bush is actually saying, though. And this is what the most hilarious part about this. George Bush slip up, and liberals, despite being the enemy of George Bush, even though they like him now, right? You would think they will pounce on this. They haven't. Because he just destroyed the Ukraine narrative just like that. You guys realize that? I'm going to explain. Let's watch the video again, and I'm going to explain why he's giving a speech, why is he talking about things he's talking about, and why he just fucked up big time.
Yep.
He just fucked up big time. He just destroyed the Ukrainian narrative. And I'm going to explain. Let's watch it one more time. It's pretty short.
In contrast, Russian elections are rigged. Political opponents are imprisoned or otherwise eliminated from participating in the electoral process. The result is an absence of checks and balances in Russia and the decision of one man to launch a wholly unjustified and brutal invasion of Iraq. Of Ukraine.
Okay, so we heard the funny part, right? Now let's listen to what he just said. And think about the levels of propaganda. Now we had our jokes and we had our laughs and giggles, right? He said the Russian elections are rigged. This is coming from the guy who stole the elections in 2000 with the Supreme Court coup. The guy who literally stole the election in 2000. And they complained that Trump stole the election. You had a guy, Trump, who beat Hillary Clinton. Now, you guys know how I feel about Hillary, but he had a million less votes than she did. But you want to say another country had rigged elections? And now, you want to know the most hilarious part about this propaganda that he repeated? He was like, Russia has no system of checks and balances. Man, I was like, his Twitter page should be gone. It should be gone. This is misinformation of the highest level.
Yeah.
You want to know what the mainstream media will never tell you guys? You guys know what you will never hear on CNN?
What?
Putin got Senate authorization for military action in Ukraine. When was the last time the president of the United States, hello, Joe Biden, just launched military action into Somalia with no debate? No, did it go through Congress? No. It's all projection. Everything the empire says is projection. And then, look, every single line. There's a reason why I play that again. Every single line is projection. They jail dissidents. Julian Assange says hello.
Yeah.
And then he say they rob and steal their ability to engage in the electoral process. The new Jim Crow says hello. The new Jim Crow was our new tough on crime initiative that we put felons on black people and poor people because Republicans and bourgeoisie Democrats understood if you take the voting rights away from black people and working class people, you can help shape the narrative in an electoral sense in your direction. Why you guys think people got boom and felonies and nonviolent crimes? That was about taking radical black people and poor workers off the voter rolls. Every single line that this guy said, everyone focusing on the slip, and that's funny. I wanted to laugh at that first, right? But the substance of what he's saying, everything is propaganda. Everything he accused Putin of Russia of doing, the United States empire is guilty of that to the maximum level. Which is why the Ukraine narrative, this is just another nail into the Ukraine narrative. Because what's the narrative they've been feeding us? That Putin is this unique evil. He's a unique evil. That he did this unjustified invasion. But now that George Bush, I know it may seem small, but when this headline goes, when people see this video, if there are people who did not break through the propaganda yet, when they hear this fraudulent slip, they're like, "Oh shit, this is kind of similar.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And while we're sitting here talking about also the election integrity, I find it funny how when it comes to the way districts are drawn, as far as our elections go, all the people who are in prison, they are also counted as well for these, districts, and yet they don't have a right to vote. And even many of them, once they get out of prison, they don't have a right to vote, and yet they're still counted in these districts for representation, and they don't get a chance to actually have a say in our democracy, especially nonviolent, former people in prison. So, yeah, if we're talking about election integrity, we don't have it here in the United States.
Even what you do, you're a clown. Yeah. Go ahead, James.
Yeah, but look at how the Democratic primaries are done. It's literally a private organization. They can do whatever the hell they want. So you actually think they have true election integrity? The thing that people mistake the most is that they think that the Democratic Party is a bureaucratic institution, a governmental bureaucratic institution. It is not. So therefore, they have no say from the public. They don't have to listen to you. Neither does the Republican Party. So guess what? When they choose somebody, they're literally choosing for you. That's really what they're doing. So, and then on top of it, we literally had, in 2000, the president was chosen by the Supreme Court. Even though the country pretty much spoke, it was supposed to be Al Gore. Even the news media was like, yeah, we're calling it for Al Gore. But then they were like, oh, it's too close to call. And then about a month and a half later, well, it went to George W. Bush instead, right? Then, look at how Hillary Clinton, because of the Electoral College, got over was it 3 million votes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you talking about 2016?
Yeah.
I laughed when Hillary lost, guys. But I had to be consistent. I believe whoever gets the most votes will win. Mm-hmm. So our democracy is a sham because Hillary got 3 million more votes than Trump. Mm-hmm. I am a communist. I believe in the dictatorship of the proletariat. Mm-hmm. Whoever got the most support by the working class people deserve to win. It's just that simple. Mm-hmm. You can't convince me otherwise. There is no argument that you can convince me of the tyranny of the minority. The tyranny of the majority will always make more sense than the tyranny of the minority. There will never be a good argument for it. It's always rooted in classism and elitism. That's why they said only landowners can vote. It only serves the bourgeoisie by not counting everyone's votes. I want you guys to understand that. But go ahead, James.
No, and the thing is that what George W. Bush was really, saying, really. All you got to do is change the name from Putin to Bush, and it's just as if not even more a condemnation on what he's done. And it's really a pot meat kettle type of situation. In fact, it's even more than that. George W. Bush actually has more blood on his hands than Vladimir Putin. He just does.
And that's a shocking fact to liberals, but that's literally a fact.
Yeah. And we're cheering for him when he goes on Ellen? Like, where is the orange jumpsuit to put on this man and lock him up? Like, if you're going to say lock them up for anybody, it should have been George W. Bush. It should have been Bill Clinton, George W. Bush, Barack Obama, Donald Trump, and Joe Biden. All of them. Every single one of them.
Barack Obama was like, we're looking forward, guys. We were looking forward. Isn't that some shit? So when members of the working class, when we commit minor crimes, do the courts like, oh, it's okay. We're going to look forward. I know we caught you with a dime bag, but you got some weed, but it's okay. We're going to look forward. Don't worry about it. Do you guys see how there's two different rules from the ruling class to the workers? Do they ever look at us and say, oh, we're going to look forward? No, it's all good. It's time for healing. This is what they said. It's time for healing.
Time for healing.
When you go to the court, do they be like, oh, it's okay, JB. I know you broke. I know you had some weed on you, but it's a time for healing, JB. It's cool. We done dropped the fines. We done make sure this not go on your record. Do they do that, guys? No. Why did that happen to George Bush? We know the real answer, right? Go ahead, JB. We know the real answer.
In the words of Andrew Yang, not left, not right, but forward. Those who do not study history are doomed to repeat it. Look back at what George W. Bush did. Give him no room. The court of public opinion should be railing against him. Railing against him right now. People like him, Barack Obama, Donald Trump, and Joe Biden should have no room to say a word because they silenced so many already.
They should have no rest. Ron
None.
Ron DeSantis is banning people from protesting at homes.
Ron DeSantis. Yeah.
They know. They know they should have no, in a sane society, they should have no rest. In a sane society. But James, I know you want to chime in. Go ahead.
Oh, of course. As a citizen, as a constituent of Ron DeSantis, that pencil dick motherfucker, you know what? Let me tell you something, all right? Ron DeSantis is against free speech.
Yes,
he is against free speech. He doesn't, because and I'll tell you how. Okay, he doesn't want you talking about people's sexual orientation, even in an age appropriate way, in a monitored setting. Even that he doesn't want you to talk about. He doesn't want you to talk about teaching people about what really happened and the implications of what was done to us as Black people. He doesn't want you talking about that. He doesn't want us.
He's a book burner. He's literally
he's a book burner.
It's literally the same thing.
Like, if you are one of those "don't tread on me" people, why aren't you in Tallahassee right now?
James, I got a question for you. I got a question for you. I got a question for everyone who's watching. Mm-hmm. What the fuck is a private home? What are you talking about? He said Governor Ron DeSantis outlaws protests outside private homes. You mean the sidewalk, motherfucker? The sidewalk.
The sidewalk, a public property?
That's already been established in every single free speech country. The sidewalk is the public square. And what have these conservatives been telling you guys? We need a free public square on Twitter. Guys, they just want to say the N-word. That's it. They don't believe in free speech. Protest is the most pure form of free speech, and they're banning it.
They're literally trying to ban free speech, man.
In private homes, shut the fuck up. That's a sidewalk, motherfucker. In the private homes, are you serious? And guys, why do you think they're doing this? Because we are in late stage capitalism. Yeah. They're scared. They're sending $40 billion of our money. Actually, it's $52 billion of our money they sent to Ukraine. People should be in the streets. They're not. The ruling class is like, bro, I'm actually surprised they haven't marked. They're like, bro, we need to sign some legislation. We better sign some legislation before they wake up. This is crazy. I don't want to hear shit from and JB, what have we been saying on this show for weeks now, months? I've been telling you guys this whole thing about right-wing populism, it doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist.
They're against BDS. All the Republicans, they support anti-BDS legislation.
Yeah.
They only think free speech is saying slurs. And this is we kind of going off, but this is what we do on the show. Kind of going off topic, but this is in response to what the ruling class knows what's going to happen. Mm-hmm. Yeah. People are going to continue to get more radicalized, and people like George Bush shouldn't have a moment's rest. Now, before we move on to the next topic, we got to play it one more time. Now, this time the music. We're gonna ask a little bit of music here. I think this actually makes it. Here it is. I got to pull it up. I think this is very fitting. So let's wrap it up on a positive note. Let's put some music to this hilarious video. I think it's actually very fitting.
Uh-oh.
The result is an absence of checks and balances in Russia and the decision of one man to launch a wholly unjustified and brutal invasion of Iraq. I mean, of Ukraine. Anyway, the result is
we live in a fucking clown show, James. I think we can move on to the next story. Let's have anything else.
Yeah. People, especially the left, are going to be throwing up balloons and party favors when he finally kicks the bucket.
Yes,
they will.
Let's do a live stream celebration.
Because I usually try to give my respect to people who die, but he deserves none. So, speaking of people who are war criminals, Joe Biden.
Oh shit!
Ready, kids? Let's talk about Handsy Uncle Joseph. Okay, now, shout out to you, Nick. Because you shared this. I think, was it you that shared this? I think so. I just like giving you credit.
I think I deserve more, to be honest. I deserve more.
All right, I'll give it to you.
Just playing.
All right. So this is from the Black Agenda Report. I'm not going to read the entire thing because I want Nick Alexandrov to get the clicks to his article. But this came out in March 24th of last year, so over a year ago. The title is U.S. Government Turns Somalia into Failed State to Steal Its Oil. Meanwhile, Joe Biden just sent and put more boots on the ground in Somalia within the last couple days. I'm sorry. What is this about? It's definitely not about counterterrorism, because guess what? The history is there. And I brought out, when I was talking to Jimmy Dore earlier, look, the first paragraph says this: petroleum industry analysts call Somalia promising, quote unquote, one of the last truly unexplored oil frontiers, and major firms are keen to profit there. Shell and ExxonMobil, for example, paid Mogadishu $1.7 million in 2019 for a 30-year rights to offshore blocks, and Somalia launched its first offshore oil and gas exploration licensing round last year to attract other companies.
There's no way, JB. Are you telling me that Joe Biden and the United States government is not there for the goodwill of the Somali? But I was watching Fox News and they said he cared. Are you telling me this is not humanitarian intervention, JB?
Oh, Nick.
They asked us to be there. The government, the U.S. public government.
I'm sorry. I hate to break it to you, brother, but unfortunately, the shareholders, they need their dividends. I'm sorry.
Hey, I guess might makes right. That's what they really believe, by the way. They really do believe that.
What's the difference between this and what happened with Chile and the United Fruit Company? What's the difference?
There's none.
When they installed Pinochet, what's the difference?
Now, since we're playing this game, you show me yours, so I'm gonna show you mine.
Oh, hey, how you doing?
I'm gonna show you mine. I'm gonna show you mine.
Oh, okay. I don't know if the screen can cover that. All right,
we need to stop. We demonetize, but fuck it. We demonetize.
Yeah.
So this is mine.
All right.
That's a great resource. Black Agenda Report is always on fire.
Mm-hmm. I'll share that.
But
Also,
you have shit libs saying stuff like, "Oh, the United States just want to go there to fight terrorists." That's what they really believe the war on terror is about. That we launched a war on terror in 2001, and now there's more terrorism than ever. But people think the United States actually give a fuck about stopping terrorists.
Oh gosh.
And we're gonna have she was on Hermela, she was on Jimmy Dore show. We had her on the Anti-Imperialist Summit. We're gonna bring her on and a few other anti-war activists who are part of No More movement in Africa. Because Somalia is destabilized because of constant imperialist intervention in the West between the UK and the United States. Are we clear? The Somalia, like Ukraine, is a very divided country, to say the least. Yeah. And both sides are responsible for human rights atrocities. So they say, oh my God, we got to go in there and fight Al-Shabaab. Their government they have right now have been stripping people of human rights, been disappearing people with their corrupt police force. And this is what Somali activists have been protesting about, because they saw this side who is friendly with the United States, because the government that just lost the election, they was against the United States interference in Somalia. Right? And then they get this new leader who all for it, because he's willing to sign their resources away to American companies. So it has nothing to do with morality. None at all. Are we clear? So now let me get the article, then JB, I'll get your thoughts. So in Somalia, because I want to share, people really kept saying they're there to fight terrorists. The U.S. is bombing the very terrorists it's created. This is a fantastic article. I suggest reading the whole thing, but I'll go to like near the summary because just for the live stream sake.
Yeah.
Sorry, let me clear my throat for a second. A time-tested recipe for destabilization and disaster. Since the merging with Al-Qaeda, Al-Shabaab, that's a terrorist organization that we helped destabilize in the first place when they was in control in the mid-2000s, and it was considered more moderate. So then the United States backed Ethiopia in their invasion, and they backed destabilizing Somalia. So then Al-Shabaab had to reach out to more extremist radical factions in Islam to rebuild. And that led them to merging with Al-Qaeda. So the United States military operation to weaken the much more moderate at the time, Al-Shabaab, actually led the region and them to become more radicalized. I explained this on my earlier live stream when I broke this down, but I'm gonna move on. So one could say that the Biden administration has learned no lessons after decades of interference in Somalia, but this would be inaccurate. Successive U.S. administrations understand perfectly that stirring the pot of extremism and relying on propaganda to report the result, not the process, gives them an endless excuse to occupy other countries. I covered this with CJ. Every time they want to get involved in Somalia, they come up with an excuse. Do you remember the Somali pirates? Oh my God, the Somali pirates, we gotta get involved. Then they say, oh, we gotta get to Somalia because it's the poorest country in Africa, which is true.
Yeah.
And
they even made a movie about it.
Yes. Yes.
Look at me. I am the captain now. Remember that? That was about Somali pirates.
Now, this is the important part. The Pentagon is committed to global domination. Somalia is a strategic choke point, and the Department of Defense needs reason to maintain its presence in the country. They just need a reason. It had nothing to do with fighting terrorism. Now, this is how the United States created the monster they're trying to fight. How many times have you heard the story, JB?
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised. And the only thing that would prove this wrong is if Russia like wipes them all the way out. But I wouldn't be surprised if we in the United States start fighting the Azov Battalion in like 15 years, they armed with our weapons.
Oh, it's gonna happen. Yo, clip this and 15 years later, show it back to us when that actually happens. And you'll be like, holy shit, Nick was right.
The only thing that may prove me wrong is the fact that Azov like surrendered en masse recently in the battle. So Russia is actually being very successful in their denazification. Whether the West want to admit it or not, they're denazifying the shit out of Ukraine right now. Anyway, let's move on to this story. So now let's get into the meat of how the United States created Al-Shabaab. Now we get a little bit to the weeds here. First, it's escalated Islamist versus non-Islamic tensions by backing secular warlords as a proxy against the ICU in the mid-2000s. ICU and the Al-Shabaab was pretty much the same organization back then, right? This alienated the moderate factions of the ICU and empowered the right-wing extremists. Remember what I just said. because a lot of the right-wing extremists who the moderates was holding out against, they were saying we need to reject any presence of the West because, and this is, remember, they're radical, right? Their mindset is these Christians, these white people, they are the devil. Now, I'm gonna leave that without comment. Let's say that's their message. So then you have the other people like, no, let's chill. Then they're proven correct because the white Christian devils helped destabilize their country. So then the right-wing extremists, people look to them like, oh shit, they was right, let's join them. And this is a similar pattern which empowered terrorist cells throughout the Middle East. And this is why the war on terrorism was the war on terror that was launched in 2001 was a failure. Because all you do by launching these military invasions of these people's sovereign area, all you do is radicalize their victims. Mm-hmm. So, and sorry, JB, I know I'm going for a while, but I'm gonna say this last thing. So, if you drone strike someone and you kill one terrorist, but there's 20 innocent civilians that die, which is a very common ratio, guys. By the way, they will kill one terrorist. Well, actually, the ratio is like 90%. So let's say one terrorist, 9 civilians dead. Do you think the family members of those 9 civilians give a fuck that you killed that terrorist? They're gonna be like, oh shit, that terrorist probably had a good point fighting the United States. I'm joining them. I don't give a fuck. Hey, I'm not gonna say anything, but if the government bomb my family, what else do I have to live for? That's the only thing I'm gonna say before I get in too much trouble. Yeah. Imagine someone drone strike a wedding. My cousin had a wedding not too long ago. Imagine, I'm thinking like, bro, if a drone hit my cousin's wedding and killed everyone there, I don't really have much to live for anymore, other than join some radical organization. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm gonna say that as an example. But sorry, I'm ranting.
But here's the thing, though, that you're pointing to. The United States is literally manufacturing terrorism.
Yes, that's the point.
They're literally manufacturing it. They're creating the problem, and then they're saying that they're solving the problem by creating the problem, and then saying that they're fighting the problem, even though they're creating it. It's a grift. It is a grift. It is a military industrial complex grift that they want you to believe. And then they'll get both parties to say, oh, we're going to be tough on terrorism, donate to our Act Blue, and then vote for us. And then, boom, guess what? They're doing the exact same shit over and over and over and over again. And then on top of it, not only are they, it's the United States sponsoring terrorism, but at the same time, they're also installing very extremist right-wing puppet dictators in these governments to help brew it. Because apparently, giving the dividends and nationalizing the natural resources in your country is a big no-no to the United States, even though it will help uplift everyone in that nation out of poverty, even though these people are on the left, right? But they can't have that because they want the resources, not the people. They want to take the dividends out of the hands of the men, women, and children in that country and keep it for themselves and their corporations. That's what they're doing. And if people and you guys need to wake up, because guess what? This government is owned by the corporations.
JB been on fire today, guys. JB been on fire, man. If you guys missed that Jimmy Dore conversation, make sure you guys check out JB Fine channel. Subscribe to it. Let's continue with the article because you guys already know I always go on my rant during my presentations. Mm-hmm. So we're talking about how the United States created terrorists that are saying they're fighting in Somalia right now. First, we talk about how they radicalized the members of Al-Shabaab by helping destabilize their country, right? Mm-hmm. Second, and most importantly, and this is what I mentioned earlier, Washington backed Ethiopia's invasion in late 2006, triggering a catastrophe for the civilian population, many of whom then welcomed the hardline Muslims because they imposed a degree of law and order. Mm-hmm. This happens every time. Mm-hmm. When you look at Iran, we look at all these countries that the United States get involved with. We constantly pop up terrorism because they have to turn to the more militant, extreme people when shit get hard. Now, let me ask you guys this hypothetical. Even if you don't agree with our politics, even if you're a shit lib, if somehow there's this mythical country that invaded the United States, who do you want on your side? Do you want some shit lib Sam Cedar fuck, or do you want Rome? You guys get what I'm saying?
I'm gonna say something. I'm gonna say some shit that's gonna get me in trouble.
Go ahead, man. We get in trouble today. We're not monetized anyway. Fuck it.
All right. The United States has had so much experience with enabling radical Christian terrorists, especially against us black people, that they're now doing it to Muslims too. So the far right extremists who happen to be Muslim, guess what? They're doing it to them because they actually have experience with the radical Christian terrorists, aka people like the KKK. So guess what? That's right. I said it because guess what? Radical Christian extremists, they exist too. They have been doing what the hell you think the Oklahoma City bombing was? What do you think the KKK are? They are. But guess what? They're not doing a damn thing about them. They're allowing them to be there just so it perpetuates what they want to happen. The exact same thing they're doing in other countries. Except for the majority religion there is, guess what? Is Muslim. Guess what? You don't think they're not going to do it with the Hindus in India? You don't think they're not going to do it with the Buddhists in China if they can get their hands on them? They're going to get the most right-wing extremists of any religion just so that they can perpetuate their capitalist, imperialist, colonialist agenda. That's what they do.
Since we are propping up Rome, allow me to give a shout out. Also, kind of an announcement since we got the graphics and everything made now. Our Tour for the Poor, Mutual Aid, barbecue in Kansas City is going down, son. So we're gonna get back. We're gonna get back to the story. This is intermission. Kansas City is up next for a Tour for the Poor. We're planning another diaper giveaway and barbecue. It'll be July 10th with your boy, yours truly. And I told Rome, as I mentioned, as I was trying to spread awareness in this, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart, because I've been watching what Rome been doing for a long time. Rome is a true leader of this movement. He put his money where his mouth is. He put in the real work. And since we're talking about Rome, that's who I would support. People like, Nick, are you interested in electoral politics? I'm like, nigga, is Rome running? If it's not Rome, if I'm not seeing them on Radical Brothers, man, I don't want to hear it. I tell you, this is gonna be a fun episode. We just having fun today. But anyway, I hope all of my Kansas City comrades, all y'all invited. If you can travel, you invited too. We really trying to build community. I told you guys after the Anti-Imperialist Summit, 1 year in, we were looking to do big things at RBN. So this is just the start of the next chapter.
Yeah.
Go ahead, JB, and then we get back to the story.
Anytime you meet me, guarantee is going down. That's what I love, man. I had to put a musical reference in for that one.
JB is the heart, soul of this network.
Thank you.
Let's go to this. Let's finish this because we only got to do the first two parts.
Yeah.
And you guys already see why it's ridiculous that anyone would defend what the Biden administration doing. This is ruining their sovereignty. Do you guys understand? When you have a divided country, and this is the argument against Russia.
Yeah.
They say, oh my God, the puppet government that the United States backed up with their propaganda campaign, they're asking for requests to help stomp any opposition. Like people in the Donbass wanted Russia to invade Ukraine to liberate them. So if you are criticizing Russia, and all the liberals are, but then they support the Biden administration doing this, I am challenging you to explain the difference. They say, oh, well, he's fighting terrorism. Okay, Putin said he's going to Russia to fight the Nazis. You guys see how you guys using the same propaganda techniques? You guys see that? You guys see how they doing the same thing? We're consistent here. I said I would love to see another solution, but hey, I think so. Here's the thing: at least Russia and Ukraine, that's in Russia's backyard. What the fuck is the United States doing in Somalia?
Somalia is way over in the east of Africa.
So it makes way more sense for Russia because at least it's in your backyard. Y'all motherfuckers crossing the Atlantic Ocean, traveling to lands unseen. And like, oh, we gotta fight terrorists over here. Fuck out of here.
Yo, do you know how big Africa is? Like, no. Y'all, do you all know how big? It's all the way at the eastern tip of Africa. Do you know how big Africa is? Africa is the second largest continent on Earth. You can literally fit United States, China, Canada. You can fit so many countries just in Africa by itself.
Yeah,
and you mean to tell me that they're talking about, oh, well, there's terrorism all the way over there and all over there, so we have to protect our border. Where? What border are you talking about? Like, what the hell? And here's the crazy part. Even just by that metric, if you say, okay, yeah, we have to fight terrorism, they're all the way over there. Like, bruh, are you serious right now?
Then one person terrorist, another person freedom fighter.
They
call anyone who resists United States a terrorist.
Oh my god, these people. Oh gosh.
Here it is. Here it is. Here's the real size of Africa. Let's see if I can make this bigger.
Please.
Because it's one of the like when you see them little European-centric maps that like really emphasize Europe. Here it is, the map visualizing the true size of Africa. There's Spain, right here in that little corner. Portugal right here. You got France right here. United States in the sub-Saharan, the desert. Just a little sub-Saharan area. Mm-hmm. China, right here, just a little bit right here. A little bit more of China. I get that. This is a good portrayal because they had to split China up in two to accurately show the landmass. The UK can get that island over there. Mm-hmm. And then they
India,
Japan right here. I think Japan right there. India is pretty fucking massive, guys. India is a massive fucking country.
All of Eastern Europe, bro.
Bro, they didn't put a country. They just say, Eastern Europe, all of it. So all that wealth that white supremacists think they earned, because we played that clip on Nick and CJ of that white lady on Tucker Carlson show. They'll say, "Oh my God, black people they're just jealous that we had all the wealth, that we did successful. We were more successful than other societies." Like, no, motherfucker, you guys stole our shit.
You stole it.
You guys stole our resources. You can't be anti-racist like you anti-imperialist. But now we get into some tangents. JB, anything else you want to say, and then we can finish the last part of this passage.
No, you can continue, brother.
So we left off at Washington back in Ethiopia invasion with emboldening the hardline Muslims because people needed a security. Third, by paying the nomadic and Sufi Islamic nation of Somalia as a hub of right-wing Salafi extremism. Now, this is actually a very important point. Western policymakers and media propagandists created a self-fulfilling prophecy in which Muslim fundamentalists eventually joined the terrorist groups they was already being accused of. Now, this is extremely devastating. Think of U.S. propaganda. Saddam Hussein was okay until he was our enemy. They say some people are freedom fighters until they're terrorists. So what they was doing in order to justify intervention into Somalia, in order to justify Ethiopia's invasion to Somalia, they would say, "Oh wait, Somalia is filled with radical Islamists. This is why." Then people say, "No, leave us alone. We're not radical Islamists." They're like, nope, you're a radical Islamist. We about to fuck you up because you're radical. No, we're not. So then eventually they're like, fuck it. You're going to fuck us up because we're radical Islamists. You might well join the radical Islamists so we can have security. You guys see that? That's such a great point that would never came up on my own. Once again, this is why Gray Zone is good. I would never came up with this on my own because this is the stuff. And then you can make the argument. I may not be able to lay it out completely, but you can make the argument the same thing happened in Afghanistan, Iraq, where people join more extremist terrorist cells as a form of protection. Think about all the civilians the United States government was killing in their war on terror in Iraq and Afghanistan. If you're a civilian and you've seen U.S. soldiers killing people, I'm like, shit, I'm out joining Iconic. You might not even agree with these people, but you're like, shit, I'm just trying to stay safe. I'm trying to stay safe. Hey, I'm down. Fuck. So, yeah, that's a great point. Once again, I would never thought about this on my own, but that's such a great point. JB, you want to say anything? We got one more.
Yeah. Go ahead. I love how zaps in because this is true. United States labeled Nelson Mandela as a terrorist.
Yes. There's so many examples you can probably think of that I'm just blanking on right now. There's just a ton of examples of them doing this because in order to justify their invasions, they had to paint. It don't matter if you're good or bad. They just paint you as evil. And then if you already been painted as evil, like fuck, we need security at this point, so we might as well join the side they're accusing us of. Fuck, that's crazy.
And the United States was pretty much in support of apartheid in South Africa.
Yep. Margaret Thatcher wanted to create a white society in South Africa, and she claimed that the blacks didn't deserve it. Bro, you guys don't have no idea how racist she was. Here, I should look up the quotes. I'm going on top of my head. I'm gonna read that last thing, but I'm gonna see if I can find it, bro. Anyone who defend Margaret Thatcher after her role in backing up apartheid South Africa, fuck. Anyway.
Unfortunately, Ilhan Omar did. And by the way, has she spoken out? I asked before, but has she spoken out against the boots on the ground in Somalia?
She supports the U.S. puppet dictator, and I reported this on a long time ago. There were a lot of Somali immigrants in Minnesota that's done with Ilhan Omar because they saw that she was supportive of the U.S. puppet, which once again, just like Al Shabaab, they both are human rights violators. Like the people that Ilhan Omar were back in the U.S. backed government is responsible for human rights violations as well, torture, killing political enemies. They all do it. I can't find real quotes, but I'll just read the headline and then I'll read the last point from the article. Maybe I'll dedicate a whole segment because I saw some quotes from Margaret Thatcher, which about Black South Africans. That was like, what? Margaret Thatcher's shameful support for apartheid. Is the first paragraph good? No. Anyway, I think the headline's good. You guys get the point. You got look at the quotes. Look at the quotes of her. It's crazy. I don't want to get too off track. I'm gonna read the article, and then I think we got another story. I think I do. We see. Fourth, another once again we read and list on how this is the headline. Just in case people just now tuning in. In Somalia, the U.S. is bombing the very terrorists it created. So now we have to explain how they did this. It escalated tension between non-Islamists and hardcore Islamists. They backed the Ethiopian invasion, which led more moderate Muslims to fall into the graph of radical Islam for security. And then their propaganda campaign turned into a self-fulfilling prophecy where they were labeling all Somali Muslims as terrorists. So then, like, you guys are relentlessly assaulting them to have security, right? And then this is the last part. This is where we left off. I just want to sum it up because I know people will tune in and out every once in a while. Fourth, for a country supposedly concerned with international terrorism, the U.S. has done nothing to rein in one of its closest allies, the UK, whose successive governments have sheltered a number of Islamist extremists that recruited for Somalia. But tell me more about how Joe Biden is invading Somalia to fight terrorism.
Yeah.
When their biggest ally was shielding the worst extremists. But go ahead, JB. That's
people in the chat are saying that we're lagging right now on their end.
Man, YouTube is throttling the shit out of us. And I saw they were throttling Caleb Maupin's channel. There's someone else. I can't think of them right now. But there's like a few anti-imperialist channels that are being throttled like hell. And I literally saw people in Caleb Maupin's comments that were saying the same thing. Our other stream was hit with the same thing. So we are growing about 100 subscribers a day, preaching anti-establishment discipline, right? And whoever's controlling the damn algorithm did not like it. They demonetized us. They throttling us. People say they don't get notifications. People tell me they are subscribed and unsubscribed all the time. And now our stream is buffering. So,
by the way,
it's better now. But guys, this is the point. Like, if they always do this way, buffer, it lags because most people. I know I'm one of those people. I don't got a lot of confidence. I don't got a lot of patience. Soon as it start lagging, I lose interest, and that's by design. Jimmy too. Like a lot of people say, some people say Haas, Hinkle, Gray Zone, like all the anti-imperialists. I see, and not just our channel. They're doing it to all the anti-imperialist channels. They're throttling because they want to lower the view count. Some people stay, but a lot of times when people see the video buffering, they just move on and click to the next channel. So it's fucked, man. That's why you guys gotta be comrades. Hit the bell and share. Join Patreon, that kind of stuff. Watch on Rofkin, Rumble. Help us spend harder because YouTube is not gonna last that long. I'm surprised we last as long as we did.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Lee.
Yeah. By the way, I asked a question on a poll for this channel. I asked, were you aware that Biden reversed a Trump pullout of Somalia by sending troops to the country? Because, you know, people are very well informed. They watch us. 78% said yes, but 22% said no. 22% of the people who are watching did not know that Joe Biden had reversed that. Yeah. And the thing is that my question to you is, why is there more outrage about this than in Ukraine? Why isn't there that much outrage?
Because people think they are free thinkers. There are people that literally think they are not programmed. The United States is the most propagandized country in the world. So if I say the United States is the most propagandized country in the world, who do you think is being propagandized? The people who still vote red, blue.
Yeah.
So they won't even admit it. They probably don't even know what's happening to them. But they are being trained to care about Ukraine, even though Joe Biden is starving millions of Afghanistan civilians. We are sending weapons to Israel, who is ethnically cleansing the Palestinians. We just started our on the ground invasion of Somalia, but they bombed Somalia before this year.
Yeah,
we continue to genocide Yemen, but there are people there are fucking normies. Sorry to use that internet slang, but there are normies who they literally care about whatever some random blue check tweets out, whatever's on CNN, whatever's on MSNBC. That's what they care about. They don't care about the fact that hospital beds were shut down, like because of the Republican Party and Democrat Party before the pandemic. But then they started caring about hospital beds as soon as the establishment told them to care about hospital beds in order to push mandates. Were they complaining about that shortage before? No. They're just an example. You see how they care about shit only when the establishment tells them to? Where's all the outrage about the police violence? When the Democrats needed people to care about that when Donald Trump was president, that was the thing that normies cared about. Now Joe Biden's in office, funding the police more. What about the kids in cages? Remember when the establishment told people about the kids in cages and they was upset? Now Biden got in charge, he funding the kids in cages, funding the police more. Now those people don't care. How many people was tweeting about Putin before Russiagate? Like there's so many people in our population. They just need to hear someone in a suit and a tie on TV tell them to care about something. Some white guy with a proper news voice.
With a proper news voice like this.
Vladimir Putin is responsible.
I can do it. I just got to get some really good makeup to, make me a little bit brighter, but I can probably do it.
You got dipshits that think they are anti-racist by just attacking Republicans and propping up the Democratic Party because they were told Republicans racist, Democrats not racist. But if you live in reality, we are governed by two racist white supremacist parties, and this is the greatest irony of it all. The greatest irony of it all the people who are they are like the racial culture warriors, where they call anyone who on the right or don't vote for Democrats, they call them racist. But then they vote for Jim Crow Joe, who built the institutions. These same people who voted for Jim Crow Joe, who built the racist institutions, will then complain and shift the focus on Tucker Carlson, who's just a fucking TV host, instead of the guy who built the system. These same people, and the hypocrisy never ends, because these same people, JB, pretend that they understand critical race theory. How many Democrats be like, oh my God, we need to teach critical race theory. Critical race theory is so important to understand. Do you guys understand what critical race theory says and what the primary theory behind many of the people who write about it? Critical race theory, in a nutshell, it all varies based on the author, but in a nutshell, it's saying institutional racism is much more important than random individualized racism. It's more important to focus on the system instead of random individuals, because that is what have more impact on our lives. Now, the Democrat Party and Joe Biden literally built these racist, white supremacist systems that critical race theory tells us should be our main opposition to racism. But then they vote for the party that built those systems, and then they think they're anti-racist. Then they smear us. I saw people smearing Breonna Joy Gray, saying that there would be white leftists that are smearing black leftists like, oh my God, you're weak on racism because you don't talk about Tucker Carlson enough. Like, you voted for Joe Biden and you're going to do it again. That's the crazy part. Like,
I'm sorry.
If you fucked up and you vote for Joe Biden because you're afraid of Trump, but then you vote for Joe Biden after seeing he expanded the police more, and then he expanded ICE more, and then you vote for him again, no benefit of doubt anymore. But go ahead, John. I know you want to chime in, but man, there are a lot of these fucking white leftists who they think they know more about race than black leftists do.
Oh boy. Yeah, look. You can talk about personalities and how they, are horrible. Are some? Yeah. But if you sat there and voted for a racist, segregationist, sexual assaulter, if you voted for that person because you felt that the other racist, segregationist, sexual assaulter was somehow worse, and yet that same one that you voted for is doing the exact same thing as the other racist, segregationist, sexual assaulter has done, but the only difference is the one that you voted for has 40 years more experience than the other one. You mean to tell me that somehow that you're on the side of being anti-racist? And you're still pushing the narrative of harm reduction. Harm reduction. Wait. You mean to tell me?
I love you, James.
That the two people who are basically cut from the same cloth. You mean to tell me that you're like, oh, one was actually better than the other? And then when we said, okay, look, there's a third option, you guys were like, no, you're not. There's not a third option. And then when we're like, there is a third option, but they're not popular. And I'm like, but you have 1 million subscribers that you can make them popular. They're not popular, but you can invite them on. They're not popular, but you can invite them on. But yet, we're wrong for rejecting a segregationist, racist, sexual assaulting war criminal. And we don't want to trade one racist, sexual assaulter, segregationist war criminal for another, because we don't want to trade one for another. Somehow, some way, we're wrong. And the thing is I'm sorry, either death by fire or death by drowning. How about I don't die at all?
You don't know.
But what do I know? What do I know? I'm just some crazy socialist, I guess.
You don't know what's more. We live in the craziest times because the same people who they feel like they are the gatekeepers on race issues. Like I am the white boy who can deem who is racist and who is not racist. I'm the white boy who has this power for some reason. You guys, you want to know what's hilarious? Joe Biden went to Buffalo, right? Because you remember they had the Buffalo shooting.
Oh,
and
God.
he was there. I think it was today or yesterday, and he was pretending that he is super concerned with white supremacy. while he's pretending to be concerned with white supremacy, while he is literally sending weapons to the same Azov battalion that motivated the racist shooter in the first place. Guys, we are living in crazy times. We are living in crazy times. I swear. I don't know how they get away with it. I don't know how they do it. Someone explain to me. How can you pretend you are against white supremacy while funding fucking Nazis? Someone please explain this to me. I would love to hear it.
It's great, yo. It's crazy. Like, hold up. You mean to tell me that the same guy that was a segregationist that literally said that he didn't want his kids to grow up in a racial jungle, that same guy is literally going to Buffalo to condemn a white supremacist, even though that same white supremacist identifies with the white supremacists in Ukraine that he's sending $40 billion to fund so that they can fight against Russia.
Can't make this up, bro.
Like, hold up. Like, when people say common sense isn't common anymore, I'm just like, ain't that the damn truth? Wake up, people.
You wanna know how bad the two-party duopoly fuck people common sense up, JB? I see these black liberals, these black shit libs. They're like, man, we're fighting white supremacy by voting for the Democratic Party. Like, guys, I go as hard on black people probably more. Like, I know I offend some of you white people. Like, oh my god, you always calling us. But I go hard on my own people. I promise you, because we have a party that literally had reparations on the ballot. There's so many of these black shit libs, James. There's so many of these black shit libs. They're like, we need reparations now. We need reparations now. But then they vote for fucking Jim Crow Joe over Angela Walker, who literally had reparations on the ballot. You see how fucked up the two-party duopoly destroys people thinking? And then there's some people that was like, oh my god, do you guys support reparations? Like, motherfucker, I voted for that shit on the ballot. Y'all voted for Jim Crow Joe.
Yeah. I voted for reparations, man.
There's so many black shit libs. They fucking virtue signal just like white people. They're like, reparations now, reparations now, reparations now. Then the Green Party literally support reparations they have for years, but no support for them, for the same black liberals.
Man, these black liberals, they didn't even want Nita Turner, and she's a centrist. They didn't even want Nita Turner in their caucus. And then these same black liberals were the ones who were cool with voting also for the crime bill that Joe Biden wrote that Bill Clinton signed in. Bill Clinton, who was the first black president, according to some black liberal comedians.
The Black Congressional Caucus, their job was to shoo and undermine the black activists who had criticism of the crime bill. And they're like, man, we know best, man. We got former civil rights leaders here. Former civil rights leader who sold out. Biden gave
Yes. Thank you, Anna. Thank you.
Biden just recently said. Remember, Biden just recently said, he was like, remember the good old times back when we can have disagreements and we still could be friends? Like Strom Thurmond. Like, he just said this recently. It's like, bro, do not fucking ever mention Strom Thurmond if you're Joe Biden. Why no one tell you this? He was like, back in the good old days, you can have dinner with people you disagree with, like Strom Thurmond. Like, bro, you just said the quiet part out loud.
Oh, sure. I can have a disagreement with somebody. And then while we're sitting there having dinner, I can actually leave through the back door because that's what is made for me. I can't drink from the same fountain because, well, it's just a disagreement. I can't eat lunch at the same counter as you. Oh, it's just a disagreement. I have to sit at the back of the bus. Oh, it's just a disagreement. I can't go to school with your kids. Oh, it's just a disagreement. Give me a fucking break. And if anybody's believing this bullshit from him, wake up, because the thing is that y'all, and then he's trying to, bring back the soul of America. The soul of America literally stole our ancestors and brought us here in chains. You want to talk about the soul of America? The soul of America massacred and committed genocide against brown people who were indigenous to this country. You want to talk about the soul of America? The soul of America, once Jim Crow actually came into existence, we were being murdered and lynched left and right. You want to talk about the soul of America? The soul of America is a demon.
Bro, JB, now that I think about it, that was one of the few things that Joe Biden wasn't lying about. Gonna restore the soul of the nation. Yeah, we're back at it. We're back at it again.
Well, yeah, you got a point there.
Funding genocides, bombing Africa. America's back.
America's back, baby.
Funding the police more. Baby formula shortages.
America, fuck
homelessness is up. Food insecurity is high.
Isn't it great?
The working class gotta pay more. America is back.
America's back, baby. Next thing you know, we're already getting 14-year-olds as child labor now. Guess what? We're gonna move it down to 8. You're gonna have 8-year-olds working in the factories. Can't wait to get back to that, right?
Joe Biden's like, I'm gonna bring it back to the 1930s. Bring America back. You know, back in the days.
Yep.
Back in the good old Depression days. Speaking of
segregation's back again.
Speaking of baby formula, I'm gonna shift to. I got a few shorter stories, but I think they're very fun dialogue. And they're definitely rapid fire stories to cover as we wrap up this stream. Speaking of baby formula shortage, we're also gonna get into the Ukraine vote. We're gonna look at the senators who voted for it and against it. Spoiler alert! Before we get to that story, your hero Bernie Sanders voted to send your money to Nazis in Ukraine instead of taking care of the working class. But we're gonna get to that soon. Do you guys remember the Republicans that was taking advantage? They were taking advantage of the fact that Democrats suck. Like, imagine being so bad that you give Marjorie Taylor Greene an opening to attack you
from the left.
That is, I made a joke on the last live stream when we covered Marjorie Taylor Greene calling out AOC. I said, yo, if Marjorie Taylor Greene ever calls me out properly and assassinates me by calling me out to the left, replace me. Like, I'm like JB, like you, CJ, Rome, hold a vote. You guys can find a new member. I'm done.
Time out. It'd be time out. Game over. Dude, no.
I resign. I will resign. I will let you. I was like, no, I don't want to ruin RBN. I will ruin your reputation. And sorry, JB, if Marjorie Taylor Greene ever destroys you on the left, I gotta let you go. I'm sorry.
I'll be walking around the streets like this. Nope. Y'all wouldn't be able to see me because I'd be hiding.
But Marjorie Taylor Greene is not your friend. And we explained this to you guys.
She's not.
I explained to you guys there's no such thing as a right-wing populist. They are just taking advantage of the fact that the Democratic Party is particularly horrible. Mm-hmm. So remember when Marjorie Taylor Greene gave a speech on the Senate floor, giving a leftist argument against imperialism. She was saying, we have a baby formula shortage. Meanwhile, you guys are sending money to Ukraine? There are a lot of Republicans who repeated, that was the talking point of the week. Lo and behold, there's a vote to have money. I think it was a few million. I gotta get the exact amount. I found this tweet for Crystal. She's the first one I saw report on this. So they voted against a bill that would spend money to help fix the baby formula shortage. Biden just authorized the Emergency Defense Production Act, which is good, which showed that he always could have done this. He just decided not to, by the way.
He could have.
And we knew that this baby formula shortage, this was known in January. They decided not to do anything until they politically have to. What did that tell you about the Democratic Party? But remember, Marjorie Taylor Greene was like, oh my God, we sent all this money to Ukraine, but what about the babies? Mm-hmm. The right-wing populists, they don't exist. I explained this to you guys on my live stream. They just use any opportunity to attack the Democrats. which is, I attack Democrats all the time, but you got to know on principle. So this is what Crystal Ball reported. After giving a fiery speech saying that we should both be spending money on baby formula instead of weapons to Ukraine, Marjorie Taylor Greene voted against both of the bills that would have sent more money to deal with the baby formula shortage.
Isn't it ironic?
I told you guys, man, this red-blue game, anyone who takes this shit seriously, other than we said at the time, they only saying this to make Democrats look bad. They don't, the right-wing populists, as I explained over and over again, doesn't exist. The same Josh Hawley, who's in my state, who's a senator, he was using this pandemic and the fact that people were struggling to attack the Democrats. Say, "Oh my God, working class people are struggling." This is what Josh Hawley does. He paints himself as a right-wing populist, right? But then he votes against pandemic relief aids that would have went to small businesses. He voted against the Medicaid expansion. So I'm imploring people, please, for the love of God, give up this pipe dream that right-wing populists exist.
They don't.
The people who are good, I do admit, there are people who call themselves right-wing populists who are good, but they shouldn't call themselves right-wing populists. They've been so brainwashed by the culture war, they just don't want to call themselves left. The reality of the situation is, as me and CJ broke down, the right-left diagram, the right usually want to maintain and conserve the society for better or worse. The left usually advance for social change. How can you be a right-wing populist in a broken capitalist warmongering system like the United States? What are the right-wing populists preserving? Culture? I don't get it. Like, what makes them an ally? What really happened is right-wing populists realized that George Bush politics was unpopular. They saw the rise of popularity of Trumpism, which he branded as right-wing populism, even though it wasn't. So a lot of these people, they literally have the same politics as George W. Bush. They literally, just like John McCain, they just brand themselves different. Do you guys understand? So please, so people say, do you guys think you can ally with right-wing populists? On what? On what? They don't really believe in shit. They just want to own the Democrat. You guys know everything we say at RBN, we really believe. And we criticize both parties because they both are shitty. The same right-wing populists, they say they are for free speech, but are they saying anything about the Ron DeSantis story we just reported? Are they reporting on the BDS crackdown?
Mm-hmm.
No.
Yep.
I don't trust them. And if you're still afraid to say that you are anti-capitalist instead of a right-wing populist, if you're still scared to say you're on the left, you got to ask yourself why that is. Mm-hmm. But as the definition stands, and based on what I've seen, the right-wing populists and the people they prop up are frauds.
Yeah.
As Marjorie Taylor Greene showed. So I know that's my rant, JB. You have anything else you want to add? No, and then we move to the next story.
Yeah, if you consider yourself, because I have to get going in a little bit because I have to be on my channel.
Yeah, we can wrap up.
Yeah, but my thing is if you're a right-wing populist, why aren't you speaking out against the banning of books, especially by queer authors in Texas? Why aren't you speaking out about that? If you're a right-wing populist, if you are a "don't tread on me" type of person, then why are you, about banning books in the state, banning books by the state books being banned by the state? If you're all about free speech, why aren't you an outrage about that? Oh, by the way, and like I said on Misty's radio show, if you are a right-wing populist or just a conservative in general, if you have a "don't tread on me" flag hanging up in your house, why in the hell are you accepting the killing of unarmed, particularly Black people in the United States, and their rights are being stripped by the police state? Why? If anything, you should be posted near Black people's neighborhoods, ready to protect us if you feel that our rights are being tread upon, but you don't care because you never did. If you do, put your money where your mouth is. Take somebody like me and be like, "Hey man, we're gonna take you for firearms training, and then we're gonna help crowdfund for you to get your own firearms so you can protect yourself. Where are you? Where are you? You said don't tread on me, but yet you see the state treading on us that look like this, and where are you?
They're frauds because the funny thing is they tread on everybody. Like the same people who like don't tread on me, the right-wing populists. They're like, we believe in small government, man. But then they support giant police budgets. The NYPD police budget is 3 times higher than the military budget of North Korea. And they justify that. They justify us spending more in our police than other countries doing in the military. But they're like, oh, don't tread on me. I believe in small government, even though I support the police who steals money via civil asset forfeiture more than criminals do. They're frauds, man. I tell you, I don't buy it. And the funny thing is, there are a lot of people who are good faith actors who they just fall for the propaganda. And then when I say this stuff, like they're small government conservatives, like, yeah, that makes sense, man. A lot of people don't follow me. A lot of them say, man, I appreciate you changing my mind on some of these things, because even though I'm a Marxist, I'm a big government socialist, according to them. I outflanked them on Don't Tread on Me. Isn't that hilarious? We outflanked them, JB. They say, you guys are big government socialists. Meanwhile, we support thugs in uniform that can tell you what plant you can smoke. Who's the big government nanny state bootlicker? It's the conservatives. The conservatives, they believe the government should be so big that they can tell you where to protest. but don't tread on me. But JB, I know you got to go, but I'm going to just read this headline because we don't really have to comment that much on it. Because the reason why Marjorie Taylor Greene has the opening to bullshit people like that, because we have 2 pro-war right-wing parties. I saw someone in the chat that said, Nick, the right-left game is bullshit. Yes, you're right. The red-blue game is bullshit. The red-blue game is bullshit.
Yeah.
These words actually have meaning. We have 2 right-wing imperialist white supremacist parties. And if you vote for the Democratic Party, especially moving forward, considering, as it shows here, every single Democrat, including Bernie Sanders, voted to fund the proxy war in Ukraine. So just moving forward, I just want Democratic voters to be honest, right? Just say you are a pro-war right-wing voter. Just be honest. Because that's what this is. I'm not going to add that much more commentary. But you see, the only people who voted no was Republicans. Who, once again, they're not anti-war because they think this money should be spent fighting a new Cold War against China. All these people. So don't get twisted.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'll be quick on this story. I know we had 90 minutes in. But Bernie Sanders is joining the neocons. We got 2 pro-war right-wing parties. So JB, anything you want to add to that story, and then we can plug what we have coming up next.
I think you said it all, bro, to be honest with you.
Yeah, there was not really much to me to add. Yeah, there was a fun episode. You had a long day, so I'm gonna let you go.
Yeah, I gotta prep for this, Plus I gotta give you some. Show? Yeah, I'm going on my channel. I'm gonna have Fiorella Isabel on my channel.
God damn, JB with the heavy hitters, man. JB with the heavy hitters.
Yeah, I've never actually got to have a true conversation with her. And there's a lot of people that actually talk shit about her. And I'm just like, okay, I want to find out from the horse's mouth, so to speak, as to what her thoughts are on things so that I can make that determination myself, because that's what I want to do. And so, and she's in community and MCSE network with Nico House, and, she pretty much talks about a lot of anti-imperialist things. So I'm like, well, anti-imperialist? And she talks about anti-capitalist. I'm just like, maybe she agrees with me a lot more than I think. Maybe I should, give her an ear to see where she's at. So I'm going to do that. And then also this Saturday, I'll be talking to Kit Cabello from Heartlands Media. We'll be talking to him about Chicago politics. And then I will have on a guest, a viewer on Sunday on the JB show. We're going to be talking about different methods of holding politicians accountable and things that we can do as far as pushing for more direct action in the streets. So we'll be talking about that on Sunday on the JB show too.
JB's on fire, man. And make sure you guys tune in. That Fiorella Isabel interview should be good. And all the anti-imperialist journalists get smeared. I know you said a lot of people smear her. I think I talked about with her on the panel before. As soon as I saw the liberal smear campaign against me, I immediately peeped game. Anyone who's anti-imperialist, who's against the two-party duopoly, they will smear as right wing. And as I follow her work and the work of Combo Couch, I'm like, sir, they are to your left. Like if you vote for the Democratic Party, they are to your left. Anti-imperialist, well, at least she is anti-capitalist. So, well, anyway, I'm not gonna speak to her. But anyway, that should be a good show. Make sure you guys subscribe to our Patreon, Revolutionary Blackout. I think Sabi has her show tomorrow. I will do a call-in show tomorrow as well. I know how the last 2 days off, but they've been pretty busy. So we always got content. Every day we got content. So yeah, make sure you guys subscribe. JB, last thoughts?
No, I just thanks for the great conversation and thanks for the laughs in the beginning. That was fun. I needed it. So yeah. Oh, by the way, if y'all didn't like it, what in the hell? Come on, man. Like the stream. Click the notification bell and subscribe. Like, why? What? Look. Come here. Why haven't you subscribed yet? Why? Go ahead. Take that thumb. Press the subscribe button. You know you want to. You know you want all this. Anyway, I'll leave it up to you, Nick.
It's JB Font. JB Font.
Oh,
y'all need something on channel in the description, man. Stop being shy. But anyway,
right, let me do it. I'm gonna do that real quick before we go.
I'm waiting for you to share the link. But
yeah.
Make sure you guys subscribe to our Patreon. We are demonetized on YouTube, as you guys see. If you guys want to support the channel, it allows us to do great live streams like this. You guys see we doing barbecue, mutual aid events coming up. Sabi was on the ground recently. I was on the ground reporting on Casey tenants. We're gonna have them on the show here very soon. We're still working on scheduling for that. So if you guys want to see more on the ground, here's the link. We just posted in the chat. You guys want to see more on the ground reporting like this, more shows like these? Even like $3 is fine on Patreon. It will help our channel grow.
Yeah.
And now that you guys got the link to the channel, I think this is a good time to sign off. Thank you guys for watching. Have a great night, guys.